Welcome, everyone. My name is Karen, and I'll be the host for today's webinar. The topic is Beyond the Diploma, discussing the real value of a university education. And we have invited alumni from various degree programs to speak about their experience both as a student and also what carried them through to their present positions or life circumstances. We have only about half an hour with our cherished alumni here, so maybe it's about one time that we'll hear from all of them, maybe a couple follow-up questions. Baruti, I want to know what you'd like to address. Perhaps it's something about what you study, but you're also welcome to speak purely about the benefits since that time, earning
Mm.
your PhD and living in Boston. So feel free to share anything from your heart.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for the invitation to actually be here today. And as I said before, I was teaching today, so getting a chance to teach TM and follow up with teaching this morning, with now being here on the panel to discuss both TM and MIU, it's an honor to be here. So thank you for the invitation to be here. As Karen mentioned, I did both my master's and PhD at MIU. I did the Consciousness and Human Potential program for the master's, did my PhD, and my research was examining mystical experiences among Freemasons, and collected 148 respondents and defended my dissertation in 2023 and graduated. And since that time, it has augmented what we do here in terms of teaching TM in the metropolitan Boston. My wife and I are both TM teachers and have been here for 12 years this year, teaching TM. As a matter of fact, my anniversary for the men's course concluding was 20 January. So it makes 12 years that certified to teach TM, and have been here the entire time teaching TM because we were recruited to come to Cambridge because there hadn't been a center in the area since 1996. And so they figured we'd be a good fit, my wife and I, and had an opportunity to really embed ourselves within the Harvard community, MIT community, and have met and worked with a number of people. I gave a talk in 2017 at the Divinity School discussing consciousness and human potential as well. And so that was a lot of fun. And in terms of what TM has done for me personally, it just allows me to think much more clearly, much more effectively, allowed me to look back over the course of my life and see that everything that has occurred, particularly for the last 16 years now, be 17 this year, of practicing TM, came as a result of TM. And even being here teaching TM and observing those who learn with my wife and I, and they undergo their experiences and share them with us in either text messages or emails, or attending our monthly group meditations and sharing with those who are in attendance. And so it allows us to think much more clearly, much more effectively. It's not only personal, but it's also professional. We give talks. I gave a talk recently to a group of athletes who are wanting to learn TM. And so when you are a walking embodiment of, as my advisor for my doctoral program would often say, you don't merely experience being, you become being. And what we are discussing is this underlying field of pure consciousness that's resident within everyone and throughout the entirety of the universe. TM helps to facilitate you having that interior experience, but not only having the experience, you come to live the experience, and you live it. Maharshi, in his book, The Science of Being and Art of Living, the hardcover version, on page 100, he says, through the practice of transcendental meditation, one automatically makes full use of one's surroundings. And I know how that can sound to someone who is new to TM and new to a discussion of consciousness. But you come to, I think what he's really saying there is you kind of take that step back and you examine the world around you. And it's in that taking that step back, you go from stimulus and reaction to stimulus and response. And the response is cultivated because you bring that with you from the meditation into your day. And that allows you to not only get out of the way, but stay out of the way. Allow the ideas to surface and you to then select and act on them. And you really put into place, if you will, you set the stage for a much more beneficial outcome. It comes because you take that calmness and quietude with you into your day. And that impacts, again, in professional settings. It impacts when you're out socially. It impacts when you're just navigating life with your family and someone says or does something. You come from the space of, okay, this person is clearly stressed. Do I choose to engage the situation, or do I choose to take a step back? And it's it doesn't take seconds. It's really nanoseconds that these ideas surface and you act on them and you set the stage for a much more beneficial outcome. And so for me, working with people who come through and learn TM, it's a great honor because, Maharshi in 1958 presented the technique to the world, bringing it out of the shadows and really reviving it after had really been lost, if you will, to the public. And it's a technique, as many of you know, it's been around for literally thousands of years. And to be in this modern scientific age, to have the honor to research what I get to research and speak about what I get to speak about, to think that there was an academic discipline that afforded me that opportunity, that was a blessing that I didn't know that I needed. But when I learned of it, I recognized it and just jumped head first. And here we are today.
Baruti, can I ask you a question?
Oh, please, by all means.
As the two TM teachers on here, I guess three, including Karen, one of the people in the chat was asking about how teaching TM helps to develop our creative process, and I was
Mm,
curious what
mm.
your own experience with that was.
Oh, that's an excellent question. During the writing of my dissertation, there are several. My dissertation is publicly available. You can find it online. And I recall I was working on a particular diagram that's in the dissertation. And for some reason, I just couldn't get it right. I was doing it in Photoshop, creating it in Photoshop, and I couldn't get it right. I went to bed that night after being frustrated because it was such a complicated diagram that I went to bed that night and I woke the next day and it just clicked. It clicked in the sense of the clarity to step away from it, and it allowed me to create the diagram. Also, too, in cases of finding passages from books that I had read, years ago, and idea surfacing says, "Oh, that passage from X book would be a great passage to add here." And on more than a few occasions, either myself, my wife, or our daughter would go to one of the bookshelves and pull the book off the shelf, and I'd hand the book to me. I'd open the book, guess what? To the page that was needed. I didn't have to search for the passage. And that happened so many times. And just the flow of everything, it just, it's something that there's a refinement that occurs, and that interior refinement is made manifest in every aspect of your life. It reminds me of a quote that comes from Benjamin Elijah Mays, a past president of Morehouse College in Atlanta, where he says, "The circumference of life cannot be rightly drawn until the center is set." The circumference of life, the things around you, can't be rightly drawn until the center is set. He didn't say they couldn't be drawn. He said they couldn't be rightly drawn. And here I'm thinking of Maharshi's famous phrase of right action. And so when you center yourself, in pure being, you can't but bring that with you into your day to greater and greater effect. And so for me, I found that it allows me to listen, to act, and in acting, not knowing the potential outcome. I just know, my wife and I were discussing the other day about this person with whom we're dealing from a professional perspective. And I said to her, I don't trust him, but I trust nature. And so she had a good chuckle about that. And it's something that has worked out to our benefit, even in a matter of a couple of days. So that's what it's allowed me to do. So thank you for that, Aisha.
And what classes do you teach at MIU?
Oh, at MIU, I teach a class in what is it called? The department that, which one is it now? It's in the, I
Forest
forget the department.
academies
It's
or
Forest
Department of
Academy.
Martial
It was a Forest Academy course, and then there's one in the arts and sciences class. I teach on the history of people of African ancestry and perseverance. And Maharshi's famous article from 1967, 68 within Ebony magazine after Dr. King was assassinated said that meditation can solve the race problem. And so I get a privilege of teaching that class whenever students want to sign up for it. And I get to talk about that text and a host of others and bring speakers in to discuss consciousness and human potential with the students as well. So I get a chance to do that also.
And
Is that
how
a
do
Forest Academy?
everyone's the chat is exploding. How do people find you?
Oh, oh,
Everyone wants to read your stuff. Where do they find
oh,
you?
I'm on social media. Just type my name in and it'll pop up. And in terms of the dissertation, anyone can send me an email to Baruti, Baruti at MIU, and I'll send you the PDF version of my dissertation.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to, well, Richie, go ahead and enjoy the chat. I don't know if I can catch everything. It says preach truth. Um, yeah. Okay. So we're actually coming to the end of the webinar, but I wanted Alex to close us out and just ask a very practical question. How has your MIU experience helped you with job opportunities? I mean, sometimes our degree programs are really sort of out of the box. Um, so are we able to support ourselves and get a salary after a degree at MIU? That's the question.
Sure. Before I answer that question, though, I just want to make a comment. Like what Baruti was talking about, what we've been talking about here, like these are the types of conversations that students have in the cafeteria and in the dorms and like in classrooms and stuff. So, thank you for that. I appreciate it. That was a nice flashback. Be like, all right, like spend so much time like deconstructing reality and talking about the nature of, why we're here and all that.